Okay. I think we should be ready to start the afternoon session. I hope everybody agrees. Sorry for the slight delay, but I think it was an interesting morning, and it was worth the delay that we learned so much in the opening session. So my name is Loran Caran. I'm one of the organizers from the Office for Outer Space Affairs side of the workshop. And we wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the objectives and to also mention some logistics related information together with colleagues from the local organizing committee. I will actually make it very short because my director did a good job this morning and already introduced the objectives. So I will just repeat those two slides so you get reminded what are we looking at. And in principle, you are now more clear about the process leading up to Unispace Plus 50 next year. And you heard about the thematic priorities, about the fact that we had organized a number of flagship events during this year to collect input, to collect requirements that we can package into those reports about those thematic priorities that will feed into the Unispace Plus 50 next year and into the official United Nations documents that will be issued for that event. So this is one of those flagship events, as it was mentioned. We are looking at your suggestions, your input, your requirements. Again, I will not repeat, I will not read through those two slides again, but that is what we are after. So hopefully you will all help us in the next days with whatever you think is important to mention, to put maybe in those documents. And then at the end of this week, on Thursday, we come to a set of recommendations that we can then put forward. Just to mention that, of course, as every workshop or conference we organize, there will be an official United Nations report about this too, and those recommendations and a summary of what was discussed here will be captured in that official UN document as well. So it is important that we make sure that anything that is of importance we capture and put in. But we will also have time on Wednesday and Thursday morning to discuss in 3 separate working groups about these issues. And if you look at the agenda, those working groups are already defined, and the topics that we will be addressing within those working groups are already described there. We will provide you more detail before we move into those 3 working groups. So please already start thinking about how to split in those different working groups and which one you would prefer to be in. At one point we will have to make that determination and make sure that we are equally or almost equally distributed between those 3 groups. So again, you have on the screen the objectives that we thought would be important to address. And again, just to remind you that this thematic priority is about capacity building, and we look at it as having a strong linkage to that number 17 Sustainable Development Goal, where it's all about partnerships, and it's all about looking at how the different sectors, in our case, of course, private sector, public sector, government, university, academia, could work together in, of course, taking that space agenda forward. So that's all we are looking at, and I'm sure there would be a lot of good input. I stop there, and I will hand over to my colleague Anton to make some logistic-related mentions also for the next days. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. My name is Anton Gulbis. I'm the head of International Relations Department at the university. And I will speak straightforward. So tomorrow we're having social program, which will have 2 options. The first option is visiting Samara Space Museum. Probably some of you going from the airport to the hotel have seen the big rocket monument, and the museum itself is just under the rocket. It's a very interesting exposition, and there'll be excursion for those of you who would like to go there. And the second option is university tour. You will see the unique engine museum that has the certificate of Rolls-Royce, and there are lots of unique pieces of engine engineering, and some of our laboratories, and the department of Professor Belokonov, who will show you with his students the satellites they have and the things they're doing there. The day after tomorrow, we are going to Philharmonical Theatre. Please be advised to know that we are leaving the hotel at 6 p.m., not as it is mentioned at the program at 4:30. Should you require any information about the logistics, about your staying here, about your presentation, please find me, and we'll try to solve everything. For those of you having poster presentations, please meet Zafar. He will be the one to help you to print your posters, to put it on the desks, and all the related issues. We're very happy to have you all here. Thank you for staying with us. Please enjoy your stay here. Thank you. So now we are having the first session, and may I invite the chairs of the session, Mr. René Pichel and Ms. Alavuchkovich, to take the desk of the chairs. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start all together. Can you hear everything very well? Is it okay? So and then so let's invite then for the first presentation Mrs. Simonetta Di Pipo with her speech about the importance of Sputnik in the United Nations context for the global space agenda.
So, good afternoon. We're back to talking about some interesting topics, and I would talk about the global space agenda, but starting from historical importance of Sputnik and in the United Nations context. So, giving you a little bit of background on what it means for us. So for sure, all of you know that the launch of Sputnik happened on the 4th of October 1957, and it emitted a radio signal that was easily detectable. And I have to say, even if I listened to that several times in my life, I would like also them to listen. Assuming that it works. If not, you will be without the signal from Sputnik. We can survive. Doesn't work? No. Okay, doesn't work. Good. So, you probably, I don't know how many of you have been in the UN Secretariat building in New York. You see in this picture the Sputnik hanging displayed in the entrance hall of the UN Secretariat building. Just to say that 1 year later, after the launch, General Assembly of the United Nations approved a resolution in order to establish the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. So we can say, more or less, they have the same age. So Sputnik and Corpus, they have the same age, and they are strictly linked because the creation of the committee is really linked to the first launch in space of an artificial satellite. And still, you know, again, I don't know how many of you have been there, but it's very interesting because you have this huge hole, and then you have this small sphere hanging up from up, and it's really interesting, and gives you the feeling of still having a satellite, I mean, flying and being in orbit. So it's quite an interesting setup. What happened? I made a mistake. Okay, so, and clearly, since, as we said, the launch was in '57, this year we celebrated the 60th anniversary, and therefore the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, we made clear reference to that in June this year, but also Roscosmos organized a wonderful exhibition in the Vienna International Center Rotunda, and this is also a picture taken by, I mean, from this exhibition. Was very well done. We've been very impressed. So thank you, Roscosmos, for this. Was quite well visited by all the delegates, but also from a lot of people at the Vienna International Center. And on the 4th of October, the Russian Federation Permanent Mission organized another exhibition, a little bit different from the one we got in New York. And also there was a very interesting ceremony where we had the Russian Federation ambassador, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and myself addressing quite a crowd in exactly, I mean, and we were just below the Sputnik satellite, which was hanging up from the let's say from up, as I say before. And you can see also the Russian ambassador, I mean, introducing and presenting the exhibition to the Secretary General, introducing and presenting and explaining the various posters to Antonio Guterres. So it was quite an interesting event. But what is important also to mention is that the 4th of October is on purpose the beginning of the World Space Week. The World Space Week was declared in 1999 and was declared through a UN General Assembly resolution. And so the World Space Week every year is celebrated from the 4th of October to the 10th of October. The 4th of October because it's the anniversary of the launch of Sputnik. And by the way, this year, as I said, we celebrated the 60th anniversary. And the 10th of October is the anniversary of the signature of the Outer Space Treaty. And this year we celebrated the 50th anniversary. So was quite an important space week, World Space Week, because we had really the 60 and the 50 anniversaries of two so important events for outer space on a global scale. And here I put two pictures. One is, again, Sputnik in the entrance hall of the UN Secretariat building, a more modern picture taken on the 4th of October. And then you see again myself together with, in this case was the Italian #2 Deputy Ambassador, and again the Russian Federation Ambassador to the UN in New York. At the same time, let me take the occasion to remind all of you the importance of the International Day of Human Spaceflight, which was again declared by the General Assembly in one of its resolutions on the 7th of April 2018. And clearly the day selected was the 12th of April, because clearly the 12th of, you know well, the 12th of April 1961 was the date when we had the first human space flight, in particular with Yuri Gagarin. And in a way, this opened the way, paved the way for what we are talking about today. So what we have today is strongly linked to what happened with both Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin. And so in the celebration of International Day of Human Spaceflight, for example, I just put this picture where is it myself with the Yuri Gagarin statue that we have in our permanent exhibition at the Vienna International Center in Vienna, and also another interesting pictures where we have Yuri Gagarin and Valentina Tereshkova talking to the former UN Secretary General. So, okay, let's link now this to the history of the Office for Outer Space Affairs. As I said, the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space was created just 1 year after the launch of Sputnik. And at the beginning, the Office for Outer Space Affairs was created as a sort of as a unit, a small group of experts in the UN, in the United Nations Secretariat. And the main goal at that time of the office was to serve the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. So, in reality, the original scope, the original main task for this unit was to serve the committee. In the meantime, what happened was that it was decided to organize the first conference on the exploration and peaceful uses of outer space, which is known as Unispace 1, which was organized in 1968 in Vienna. And as you heard this morning, next year we are going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first conference. So there are a lot of anniversaries, I have to say, which are quite important to look at the past and also at the same time look at the future. So the main goal of this conference was to engage states and international organizations to, let's say, improve their relationships, their cooperation, and the peaceful uses of outer space. And in total, starting from 1968, only 3 conferences have been organized on a global scale. So, as I mentioned, Unispace 1 was held in 1968 in Vienna. At that time, what member states did was to review the progress in space science, technology, and application, and clearly called for increased international cooperation, which is still the case, but at that time was even more true. And this brought us to the creation in 1971 of the UN Program on Space Application, which was then assigned to UNUSA, because at that time this was not the name of the office, because at that time it was not yet an office. So the evolution was such that in 1992, then the office was created. It was created a little bit earlier, but in any case, in 1992, it was decided to move the Office for Outer Space Affairs from New York to Vienna. And this is quite interesting because it was let's say, the positioning of the Office for Outer Space Affairs today and at the beginning is completely different. Today, we are really the gateway for space activities in the UN Secretariat and in the UN system. At that time, the unit in charge of space activities was created to serve the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. So was different as scope and was also different in the entire system. So now we go to Unispace 2, which was which took place in '82, again in Vienna, and was attended by 94 members. And so you notice that the first Unispace was to improve cooperation, in international cooperation and relationships for the peaceful uses of outer space. In Unispace 2, the main concern was to how to maintain outer space for peaceful purposes and prevent an arms race in outer space, because these are conditions to maintain the peaceful uses of outer space. And again, the point was how we can have the commitment, can really bring member states to commit in promoting international cooperation and in improving, again, their relationships in order to maintain space for peaceful purposes. But also quite important, also for the discussions that we had this morning on regional centers. It was in 1982 that the decision was taken to start the development of this new important feature in the system, which are exactly as mentioned this morning, the regional centers. Regional centers for space science and technology education. We've been discussing a lot this morning about the role of the regional centers, if we have to expand their roles, how they have to coordinate through the alliance which was proposed by the Behang University, the regional center located at Behang University, but also how we can potentially develop a capacity building network, also leveraging on the abilities of the regional centers already developed, but also potentially adding some new regional centers in order to cover more and to be able to engage more countries, because as was said this morning, currently we cover 66 countries. So we have to reach 193. That's my goal. So a long way to go, but I'm sure that we will make it. So, and then Unispace 3. Unispace 3, you see more or less the number is similar, 97 member states. And it was held in 1999, which means that next year when we're going to have Unispace plus 50, which is not a conference, again, but it's a special segment of the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, so the format is different, completely different. It's not a conference. We really are going to review what has been done in the past 50 years in a way that member states, all member states of the United Nations, can take a serious position on what they want to see in the future in terms of space activities under the umbrella of the UN. So, again, as I mentioned this morning, Unispace plus 50 is the event of next year, and probably is the event for several years, because it's the only global conference, it's a global event under the umbrella of the UN taking place in the next, as a minimum, in the next decade. I mentioned already this, so I'm going not to repeat what I said, but there are two elements here that I would like to underline. First of all, the importance of the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. The committee is really the unique platform, the oldest and the biggest in the world, dealing with international relationship between, on one side, also the spacefaring nations and also the non-spacefaring nations, developing, emerging, and developed countries. But also, what we would like to do is also to try to include other stakeholders. So the users community, academia, scientists, public sector, civil society, NGOs. Because the situation right now, the way in which the space sector is evolving is completely different from what we were even expecting just 10 years ago. So we have to consider all the stakeholders properly. We have to collect all their inputs and proposals in order to be able really to provide a good tool for member states under the umbrella of COPUOS to deal with global governance of outer space activities. And what also is also important is that when we talk about the future, the vision, we are talking about a vision for space which wants to move from a domain of states towards a domain of a commonly shared human experience. And to do this, in order to be able to accomplish this, we need all the stakeholders, fully convinced that this is the right platform, that COPOS is the right platform to consider their needs, requirements, and expectations. So under the vision Space 2030, we should be able to put all this information. So we also see Space 2030 as a sort of, let's say, the opportunity to engage with new and creative ideas to strengthen global partnership. And also including the famous areas of exploration and innovation I was mentioning this morning, and the strong link between space exploration and innovation, because this topic has been treated not so much in the past by COPOS, so now there is a clear interest of, under the umbrella of the committee to deal strongly with space exploration. When we talk about space exploration, we mean both robotic and human. So if we now link the history, the fact that Sputnik and the launch of Sputnik and COPOS are interlinked, because the two events are so close that there is a clear correlation. The development of space activities in the last 60 years, and looking at the future, as I mentioned this morning, this workshop can really help us, being a sort of a flagship event in preparation of Unispace Plus 50, can help us in shaping the recommendations and the proposals that we are going to include in the report for the 7 thematic priority capacity building for the 21st century. So what we expect from this workshop is to collect observations and recommendations that you probably adopt at the end of the workshop. And these observational recommendations should look, should be in a way, should contribute to, with innovative approaches to capacity building. They should look at STEM education, so science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. And also, should look at how we have to reinforce synergies and partnerships and international relationships in order to be able to contribute to a new way of doing capacity building. And the conclusions will be presented to the high-level forum in Dubai, starting on the 6th of November. And also will be included, as I said, in the preparation, in all the official documents. So, as I said this morning, probably 10 times, your contributions are really important, and I hope that this presentation clearly underlined how we are strongly linked with Sputnik, with the launch of Yuri Gagarin, the fact that we really have in the UN a lot of celebrations this year, and also how every year we tackle and we deal with the World Space Week, which for us is really an important week to underline what we have been done in the past, and mainly also in the case of Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin, thanks to our Russian colleagues, and on the other side, what we can do together for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simonetta. I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions. I think it's better to have the questions right away. So if there were any questions for Simonetta, then now is your chance to ask, please. Introduce yourself and ask the question.
I'm Arthur. I'm studying in Samara University. So my question is, if people are proposing ideas to UNOSA, how will they benefit?
So you make proposals for the benefit of humankind and you want to benefit yourself. That's the point.
Also, the company is, the main motive is sustainability, right? So it should be both ways.
Okay, so let me try to be diplomatic here. Okay, as I mentioned this morning, what we do is not for us, is for trying to help developing countries in being able to tackle their sustainable development. So by definition, this is an advantage for everyone. As someone said during the panel discussion, one of the main motto of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is that no one is to be left behind. If this is not an advantage or a benefit, I don't know what can else be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think then we go to the next presentation.
Let me give the floor to the second speaker. Role of Samara in developing of Russian and world cosmonautics. And I give the floor to Evgeny Kosmodemyansky, Deputy Chief Designer, Rocket Space Center Progress, Samara.
Коллеги, я буду выступать на русском языке, поэтому кому необходимо подготовиться. Да, конечно. Итак, можно начинать, да? Дорогие друзья, коллеги, добро пожаловать на Самарскую землю. И как раз в своем докладе я хотел бы рассказать о роли Самары, самарских людей в развитии мировой и российской космонавтики. Более 120 лет конкретно наше предприятие, ракетно-космический центр «Прогресс», выпускает высокотехнологичную продукцию. И более 70 лет оно делает это на Самарской земле в кооперации с другими самарскими предприятиями. За это время мы выпускали от паромобилей до первых самолетов, аэропланов, военных самолетов, до в настоящее время ракет-носителей. В 1958 году началась космическая эра для нашего предприятия и, соответственно, для Самарской земли. И было начато производство ракет-носителя семейства Р-7. Уже первый запуск с человеком, с Юрием Гагарином, в этом запуске участвовали самарские предприятия. Первые две ступени ракеты-носителя были изготовлены на предприятии, которое сейчас называется ракетно-космический центр «Прогресс». Двигатели для этой ракеты-носителя изготавливались на Самарском двигателестроительном предприятии. И металл, который использовался при создании ракеты, также был создан в Самарской области на металлургическом предприятии. Естественно, в подготовке и в запуске этой ракеты участвовали самарские специалисты. Более того, Юрий Алексеевич, приземлившись в Саратовской области, перелетел на самолете в Самарскую область и некоторое время провел на Самарской земле, общался со специалистами, создавшими ракету, выступал перед журналистами, выступал перед рабочими. Это историческая фотография, как раз где Юрий Алексеевич спускается на наш заводской аэродром. А вторая фотография – это Гагарин на берегу Волги. Он провел 2 дня на берегу Волги, где отдыхал после космического полета. И надо отметить, что в дальнейшем все космонавты, которые возвращались из космоса, была заведена традиция несколько дней провести в домике на Волге, в котором побывал Гагарин. В 1963 году состоялся запуск первой женщины-космонавта, это Валентина Терешкова, и этот запуск был осуществлен также на ракете-носителя семейства Р-7, которая была изготовлена в Самарской области. В 1965 году знаменательное событие, выход человека в открытый космос. Алексей Леонов, первый человек, который осуществил данное действие. Его полет был также обеспечен с помощью ракеты-носителя самарского производства. С 1964 по 1974 наше предприятие в кооперации с другими самарскими и российскими предприятиями, тогда советскими, участвовало в лунной программе и делало сверхтяжелую ракету-носитель Н-1. На данных фотографиях представлены как раз образцы этого носителя. Один из заделов по этому проекту, двигатель НК-33, используется в настоящий момент на современных российских и зарубежных ракетах-носителях. В 1966 году началось производство ракетоносителя семейства «Союз». И в 70-х годах была осуществлена модернизация, ракета-носитель стала называться «Союз-У». И именно на этой ракете был осуществлен запуск и состоялся российско-американский проект, советско-американский «Союз Аполлон» в 1975 году, опять же, при участии Алексея Леонова и других космонавтов и астронавтов. Важнейшим этапом развития российской, советской космической отрасли являлось создание многоразового космического комплекса «Энергия-Буран». Ракету «Энергия» создавали также в теснейшей кооперации самарских предприятий. Двигатели, металл, разработка, многие элементы носителя создавались именно в Самаре. В настоящее время семейство ракет «Союз» представлено 5 ракетами. Это «Союз-ФГ», «Союз этапа 1А, этапа 1Б, «Союз-СТ» и «Союз-2.1В». Из данной линейки можно выделить «Союз-СТ», который используется во французской Гвиане и запускается с экваториального космодрома. «Союз-2.1В» – это ракета-носитель легкого класса, которая как раз использует в своем составе двигатель НК-33 из российской и советской лунной программы. В настоящее время данными ракетами-носителями обеспечивается деятельность Международной космической станции, пуски пилотируемых космических кораблей, транспортных грузовых космических кораблей осуществляются с помощью данной нашей ракетой. На этом видео как раз один из запусков этого года, 2017-го, 22 февраля. Вот отделился космический корабль «Прогресс», транспортный. Ну и в дальнейшем он пристыковался к Международной космической станции, обеспечив элементы ее функционирования. На данном слайде представлены миссии 2017 года. В этом году уже обеспечено 3 пилотируемых миссии и 3 грузовых. Все они являются экипажи, как мы видим, все международные. Не только техникой богата самарская земля. В Самаре родились, работали, учились многие космонавты. 7 человек представлены на данных слайдах. Ну, среди них особо тепло можно выделить Олега Дмитриевича Кононенко. Он работал на нашем предприятии в Самарском ракетном космическом центре «Прогресс». И сейчас действующий космонавт регулярно общается и как со специалистами, так и со студентами университета и активно участвует как в производственной, так и в образовательной деятельности. Одним из вех развития нашего предприятия и российской космонавтики является создание нового космодрома, космодрома «Восточный». Наше предприятие и самарские предприятия, и самарские вузы очень плотно участвовали в разработке и создании этого космодрома. Были вовлечены очень большие коллективы. Благодаря такому вовлечению, участию, синергии коллективов было достигнуто очень быстрая разработка и качественная нового космодрома. Запуск состоялся, первый запуск 28 апреля 2016 года. Приятно отметить, что также что первым запуском помимо ракеты-носителя запускались 2 космических аппарата разработки Самары и 1 космический аппарат тоже разработки одного из лучших университетов МГУ. 3 космических аппарата, 2 из них были самарские. Разгонный блок, который использовался в этом пуске, разгонный блок «Волга», также был разработан и изготовлен на нашем предприятии. Большое внимание этому запуску уделил президент, участвовал очень энергично во всех работах, которые проводились во время запуска, в работе комиссии, принял участие, ну а в дальнейшем поздравлял коллективы с успешным запуском. Ну, чтобы не создалось впечатление в том, что мы изготавливаем и разрабатываем только ракеты-носители, хотел бы сказать совсем несколько слов о космических аппаратах. На нашем предприятии, опять же, в кооперации с другими предприятиями, как Самарской, так и Российской области, российской инженерии, разрабатываются космические аппараты. Прежде всего, это космические аппараты серии «Ресурс-П», дистанционное зондирование Земли. 3 аппарата сейчас работают на орбите, дают информацию, которая используется в самых различных областях развития человеческого потенциала. 2 выделено из линейки космических аппаратов разработки РКЦ «Прогресс». 2 аппарата – это «Фотон» и «Бион». Аппараты, предназначением которых является научные исследования, фундаментальная наука, работа с биологическими объектами. И последний аппарат, как раз, который стартовал с космодрома «Восточный», это АС-2Д, который объединяет в себе учебные, научные задачи. Также задействовано было большое количество коллективов, и одно из назначений – это дистанционное зондирование Земли. Об этих линейках и вообще об этом направлении будут несколько докладов на нашем мероприятии, и, надеюсь, вы получите более исчерпывающую информацию. Спасибо большое за внимание. У меня все.
Спасибо. Моя фамилия Суйминбаев Багдат Имагалеевич, я профессор Политехнического института из Алматы. У меня один вопрос. Здесь вы докладывались и в предыдущих сессиях говорили о перспективах развития, да, ракет с ориентацией на тяжелую ракету. Что значит тяжелая? Ведь если вот судить по высказыванию патриарха одного такого Бакланова, знаете вы, да? Который сказал, что мы не вышли за пределы 2,5–2,7 метра. В этом плане какие перспективы на ракету типа, понятно, энергия, да? Энергия, так сказать, какие здесь перспективы? Первый вопрос. Утеряна ли технология производства? Второй вопрос. Ну и третий вопрос – это возможно ли дальнейшее развитие этого, так сказать, направления на базе именно такой, как сейчас можно говорить, широкофюзеляжной ракеты? Спасибо.
Спасибо большое за вопрос. Спасибо большое за вопрос. Упустил я в своем докладе, хорошо, что вы отметили. Конечно, про перспективы. В настоящее время предприятие разрабатывает и участвует в разработке новой ракеты-носителя среднего класса «Союз-5». Эта ракета-носитель послужит основой для следующих пилотируемых миссий с космическим кораблем «Федерация». Эта линейка, это очень большая работа, которая сейчас активно уже идет в нашей стране. Первый пуск будет с Байконура, определены уже даты, построены планы. И задел по этому носителю ляжет в основу разработки носителя тяжелого класса. По нему тоже уже начинаются в настоящий момент работы. И задел, вот второй ваш вопрос, о заделе с предыдущих проектов, он тоже присутствует. Как минимум используются двигатели, которые использовались на энергии на носителей энергии на боковых блоках. Задел по двигателям. Многие технологии оттуда идут на новую ракету в пересмотре с новыми подходами. Например, появляются аддитивные технологии, появляются большое использование количества композитов. Ну, если все-таки говорить о именно как вы сказали, широкофюзеляжных, к сожалению, ну не к сожалению, так построено техническое развитие, что вернуться к предыдущему проекту через некоторое время очень тяжело, то есть гораздо экономически и технически правильнее делать новое что-то. Поэтому, конечно, в том виде, в каком было возвращение к энергии буран, оно, насколько я понимаю, не видится. Но задел, человеческий потенциал, технические возможности, решения, которые там были использованы, они, конечно же, должны использоваться в новых проектах, и так будет.
Dear Evgeny, thank you very much for this very elaborate answer. And I think if there are no more questions, then we can go to our next speaker, Alla Vučković. She is the Executive Director for Human Resources and Social Policy of the Roscosmos State Corporation. Please.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I decided that I spoke 2 times in English. This presentation I will make in Russian. And I will be happy to answer all the questions after the presentation, both in Russian and English. Так как я являюсь исполнительным директором по персоналу и социальной политике Роскосмоса, как вы догадываетесь, я буду говорить на тему, которая, собственно, является темой нашей конференции. Это развитие человеческих ресурсов госкорпорации Роскосмос. Буквально несколько слов о госкорпорации. Это большая корпорация. Вот на карте Российской Федерации изображено, где находится наше предприятие. Более 200 тысяч человек работает на предприятиях государственной корпорации. Большая часть персонала сосредоточена в Москве и Московской области, это где-то 40%. И сегодня госкорпорация – это более 90 предприятий, 2 космодрома на территории Российской Федерации – это Восточный и Плесецк, и 1 космодром, который использует Российская Федерация, Байконур, на территории Казахстана. И сегодня государственная корпорация Роскосмос – это проектирование и производство ракет-носителей, космических аппаратов, причем производство полного цикла, начиная от заготовки и до финальной сборки. Это пусковые услуги, наземная инфраструктура и подготовка космонавтов. Кстати, мой коллега, говоря об Олеге Кононенко, который работал на нашем самарском предприятии РКЦ «Прогресс», не сказал, что помимо того, что он летчик-космонавт, он еще сейчас является руководителем отряда российских космонавтов. Итак, сегодня Роскосмос, как любая корпорация и как любая компания, хочет, чтобы в компании работали самые лучшие сотрудники. Как же этого достичь? Мы раньше работали со студентами, которые являлись нашими будущими работниками, но в какой-то момент мы поняли, что работать с ними с 3-го курса недостаточно. Надо начинать раньше. И сейчас мы в Роскосмосе выстраиваем систему непрерывного образования, которая по-английски называется Long Life Learning. И вот сейчас эту систему мы выстраиваем в Роскосмосе. Мы работаем со школьниками, это, видите, вот самая широкая часть нашей воронки. Потом мы отслеживаем их судьбу и смотрим, чтобы они стали студентами наших профильных вузов. И студенты наших профильных вузов должны стать, лучшие из них, должны стать нашими работниками. Вот как мы это делаем, я сейчас вам расскажу. Соответственно, наша деятельность по непрерывному образованию распадается на 3 больших потока. Первое – это наша профессиональная ориентация со школьниками. У нас есть некоторые предприятия, которые начинают даже с детского сада профориентировать детей, совсем маленьких, то есть где-то с 5-4 лет. Но все-таки Роскосмос, если говорить, мы больше общаемся со школьниками, мы отслеживаем их судьбу, и потом они становятся нашими студентами. Соответственно, вторая часть нашей работы – это работа со сферой образования, работа с нашими профильными вузами и со студентами, которые в них работают. И третья часть, как только молодой выпускник, молодой специалист переступает порог нашей корпорации или ее предприятий, образование продолжается, и продолжается, как я вам дальше покажу, ну, в общем, до того, как он становится руководителем, топ-менеджером или даже генеральным директором. Первая часть это работа с детьми. Что мы делаем по профориентации? Как я уже упомянула, мы пытаемся отслеживать талантливых детей. Как мы это делаем? Разными способами. У нас есть ряд инициатив, которые курирует Роскосмос. Вот, в частности, вы видите верхнюю правую фотографию. Это инициатива, которая называется «Воздушно-инженерная школа». Если сказать попроще, чтобы вам было понятно, это «Консат Россия». Это соревнования между школьниками, между студентами. Они запускают атмосферные зонды, которые приближены к потенциальным моделям спутников и пускают их на высоту от 50 метров до 30 километров. То есть в зависимости от того, в какой лиге они состоят, они вот такие зонды запускают. Если вы внимательно присмотритесь к девочке, которая стоит боком в желтой курточке, вы увидите, что на ее рукаве флаг Великобритании. Это означает, что в этих соревнованиях уже принимают участие не только российские школьники и студенты, но то, что они уже, эти соревнования приобрели, в общем-то, интернациональный характер, интернациональный уровень. Вторая очень интересная инициатива, которую Роскосмос сейчас проводит, это инициатива, которую мы распространяем в детских лагерях. У нас есть несколько лагерей, которые в Российской Федерации, они очень широко известны, на Черноморском побережье или на побережье. Это вот такие, как Артек, Орленок, Смена и Сириус. И детский лагерь «Океан», который расположен около города Владивостока, то есть там недалеко, относительно недалеко, там, где для русского 600 километров это вообще не расстояние, вы понимаете, относительно недалеко. Мы делаем там профильные космические смены. Сначала мы отбираем детей, которые каким-то образом зарекомендовали себя или на профильных олимпиадах, или они участвуют в каких-то кружках по моделированию. Они приезжают туда и делают конкретные проекты. Понятно, что, например, в Артеке, это наш давнишний партнер, мы традиционно делаем эти смены в апреле месяце, потому что 12 апреля в Российской Федерации празднуется День космонавтики. Это день, когда Юрий Гагарин полетел в космос. И детей, которые вы видите вот здесь на фотографии во время нашей профильной смены, они не просто так смотрят в пространство. Это еще одна наша инициатива. Мы недавно начали, несколько лет назад, делать так называемые уроки из космоса. Задается конкретная тема, и дети имеют возможность не так, как вы сегодня видели в записи Международную космическую станцию, а в реальном времени поговорить с космонавтами, которые сейчас на Международной космической станции. Я должна сказать, что тот космонавт, который одного из двух, которого вы сегодня видели, Сергей Рязанский, он в Российской Федерации возглавляет российское движение школьников. И вот вместе с ним мы сейчас делаем целую программу, которая называется «Уроки из космоса», и делаем это совместно с Министерством образования Российской Федерации. Смысл этих уроков заключается в том, что по школьным предметам, по физике, по химии, по биологии будут сделаны эксперименты, и они будут сниматься на Международной космической станции, и потом они будут инкорпорированы в школьную программу. И вот эти эксперименты смогут ребята, ну, по всей России будет иметься возможность включить эти эксперименты, и учителя могут их использовать на уроках. У нас есть также инициатива, которая называется «Живая карта». Это дистанционное зондирование Земли. Роботон Мир – это соревнования по робототехнике. Теперь следующая часть нашей работы – это взаимодействие со сферой образования. Здесь вы видите количество студентов, которые мы берем, это вот по 2016 году, из разных вузов. И вот первые 4 вуза, из которых мы берем самое большое количество студентов, это Московский государственный университет имени Баумана, это Московский авиационный университет, это Сибирский государственный университет имени Решетнева и наш хозяин Самарский университет имени Сергея Павловича Королева. Надо сказать, что мы берем выпускников из более чем 50 российских вузов. И в Российской Федерации есть такая форма сотрудничества с государством, когда государство платит за подготовку специалистов тех отраслей, которые являются стратегическими для Российской Федерации. Но студент должен подписать специальный договор с предприятием стратегическим, в данном случае ракетно-космическим, куда он обязуется прийти после того, как он закончит университет, и отработать определенное количество времени. Я повторяю, тогда для студента это бесплатно, платит государство, но он обязан прийти на конкретное предприятие. Естественно, конкретное предприятие уже заботится о нем с начала его поступления в вуз. Он проходит практику на этом предприятии. И к концу своего обучения, в принципе, он уже очень хорошо знаком с этим предприятием, и период адаптации значительно сокращается. Мы профориентируем и студентов тоже. Дело в том, что ребята приходят на практику где-то начиная с 3-го года обучения. А вот первые 2 года обучения мы должны сделать так, чтобы они заинтересовались нашими предприятиями. Потому что у нас есть ребята не только с которыми заключены договора, но просто которые учатся на каких-либо, например, инженерных специальностях. Поэтому мы организуем Дни Роскосмоса. И вот Дни Роскосмоса мы организуем в различных городах. У нас были Дни Роскосмоса в Москве, в Петербурге, в Благовещенске, где расположен космодром Восточный, в Самаре, где мы сейчас находимся. И тогда наши руководители инженерных специальностей, наши топ-руководители госкорпораций, они приезжают, рассказывают о том, что такое Роскосмос, что такое предприятие. А во второй части ребята-первокурсники едут на наши предприятия, им проводятся экскурсии, и они имеют возможность встретиться с нашими ведущими специалистами. Другое, что мы делаем, мы даем возможность развиваться студенческому научному творчеству. И у нас проходит научный конкурс, который называется «Орбита молодежи», или «Орбита молодежи». Этот конкурс у нас проходит уже 3 года. Руководителем конкурсной комиссии он проходит в течение полугода, и потом проходит конференция. Руководителем конкурсной комиссии является легендарная личность Юрий Николаевич Коптик. Это человек, который долгие годы возглавлял Росавиакосмос еще в Советском Союзе. Сейчас он является председателем нашего научно-технического совета. Происходит этот конкурс по различным направлениям, и всегда одну из секций определяет тот город, где проходит конференция. Когда у нас происходил в Благовещенске этот конкурс, это были космодромы. Когда в Самаре, это были малые космические аппараты. В этом году мы проводили в Томске, это были новые материалы. Думаю, эта инициатива заинтересует многим. Эта инициатива вот системно, мы ею занимаемся не больше года. Это запуск студенческих спутников. Как вы понимаете, любой студент, который проектирует и производит спутник в университете, ну, совместно, как правило, с нашим предприятием, ему бы, конечно, этот спутник хотелось увидеть бы не на Земле, а на орбите. То, что спутник летает, дает телеметрию и так далее. И вот мы с этого года сделали такой проект бесплатного запуска для вузов, бесплатного запуска в качестве попутной нагрузки с ракетой-носителем «Союз-2» и разгонным блоком «Бригад» вот этих студенческих спутников. Так как здесь присутствует очень много иностранных коллег, я хотела бы сказать, что это инициатива для российских университетов, но никто не мешает российским университетам кооперироваться с иностранными университетами. И тогда, соответственно, от имени российского университета обеспечивается участие иностранных университетов. Поэтому я думаю, это тоже такая возможность решения международного сотрудничества. Буквально коротко вам покажу эту схему. Эта схема, коротко вам расскажу, что здесь изображено. Несколько лет назад, в принципе, не только ракетно-космическая отрасль, но и другие отрасли нашей экономики не очень были довольны качеством выпускников, которые приходят из вузов. Говорили, что их надо доучивать, что требования, которые предъявляют работодатели, не соответствуют тому уровню подготовки, который осуществляют наши университеты. И вот это дело было взято под контроль на уровне Владимира Владимировича Путина, президента Российской Федерации. Был создан совет по профессиональным квалификациям национальный, и в рамках этого совета были созданы отраслевые советы по профессиональным квалификациям. И сейчас, так как были внесены изменения в закон об образовании, вузы, университеты, они обязаны согласовывать с работодателями те требования, которые предъявляются в виде, вот, по-русски это называется профессиональные стандарты, professional standards, которые предъявляются к будущим нашим работникам. Поэтому теперь мы получаем работников, на адаптацию которых мы затрачиваем гораздо меньше времени. И, наконец, буквально коротко я хотела рассказать о корпоративной академии Роскосмоса. У нас есть корпоративная академия Роскосмоса, но это корпоративный университет, где обучаются люди, которые уже работают на наших предприятиях и работают в государственной корпорации. Это повышение квалификации, это подготовка кадрового резерва, и это обучение наших руководителей. Возможно, вы узнали нашего генерального директора вот на верхней фотографии. То есть у нас учатся все, что обеспечивает принцип непрерывного образования. Здесь коротко, чем занимается корпоративная академия. Это, как я сказала, прежде всего подготовка кадрового резерва, это функциональные тренинги, это оценка персонала и многое другое. Сейчас очень активно в Роскосмосе. В России, я думаю, что это не только в нашей стране, но и в других странах происходит старение тех, кто работает в ракетно-космической отрасли. Поэтому для нас очень важно готовить новый кадровый резерв, и очень важно, что мы его готовим по нескольким направлениям. Это и кадровый резерв руководящих кадров, это и кадровый резерв конструкторов, это кадровый резерв технологов и кадровый резерв наших ученых. Поэтому вот по 4 направлениям готовится этот кадровый резерв, и этому тоже руководство Роскосмоса уделяет очень большое внимание. Я думаю, корпоративная академия, у нас здесь присутствует директор корпоративной академии, вот Андрей Афонин, кто захочет с ним познакомиться, это как раз возможность для расширения международного сотрудничества. Потому что вот мы открыты к сотрудничеству, и мы хотели бы расширять функционал и расширять компетенции нашей корпоративной академии. Поэтому, кого заинтересует этот вопрос, пожалуйста, можно после нашей секции подойти либо ко мне, либо господину Афонину и поговорить на эту тему. Но в целом я надеюсь, что я рассказала о том, что сейчас делает госкорпорация Роскосмос, и мы хотели бы международное сотрудничество, как я уже говорила утром, сделать более широким. У нас международное сотрудничество достаточно широкое у госкорпорации, но вот в области развития человеческого капитала, в области человеческих ресурсов, нам кажется, что можно еще очень многое сделать. Благодарю вас за внимание. Если есть вопросы, я отвечу. If you have any questions, I will be happy to.
Спасибо. Thank you. Are there any questions? And please, questions which are concerning really the presentation.
У меня к вам Пару вопросов таких. Вот вы хорошо демонстрировали здесь, значит, работу со школьниками. И вы знаете, что во всем цикле подготовки ракет, рабочей космической техники, начиная от производства, запуска, эксплуатации, важная роль на космодроме. Такой космодром есть. Советского Союза, Байконур, сейчас Казахстан, но это не важно. И здесь вы не затронули вопрос, что там, на космодроме, есть международная космическая школа, которая вкладывает, мне кажется, она российского подчинения, но проделывает очень большую работу именно со школьниками. И здесь вот присутствующие, так сказать, тоже должны, что они устраивают, так сказать, соревнования международные. Ну, Шаталова Дмитрия Владимировича тоже знаете, наверное. Или не знаете, но слышали. Если не слышали, то знаете. И в этом плане вопрос такой. Какая позиция Роскосмоса о том, чтобы студенты, не только, вот, допустим, российских вузов там проходили практику, полноценную практику. Мы уже это начали делать, но постоянно у нас трения с Роскосмосом идут. Пустим, не пустим там и так далее. Так вот, какая, так сказать, ваша позиция в части привлечения, вот мы говорим международное сотрудничество, именно иностранных студентов, мы сейчас тоже иностранцы по отношению к вам. Значит, вот к допуску на космодром, чтобы поставить это все на хорошую основу. Я думаю, что там вот школа международная космическая, она может послужить как раз базой вот для нашего сотрудничества. Это первый вопрос. Второй. Значит, мы такое тоже предложение вводим о том, чтобы на базе космодрома создать независимый молодежный центр по запуску малых космических аппаратов, наноспутников и так далее. И начинать это с простой ракеты, может быть, с геофизической. Вот. И в этом плане тоже такой вопрос. Такое предложение мы подавали в Роскосмос по разным, да, но вот сейчас, может быть, еще возобновить эту работу и сделать такой все-таки центр. И сделать космодром Байконур не замкнутой территорией зато, а сделать, действительно, как бы международным центром по реализации космических программ и космической деятельности. Спасибо. Я думаю, что вот еще одна ремарка такая, вот вы сказали, космос и политика, это вне политики, да? Ну, на мой взгляд, лично, так сказать, космос был, есть и будет оставаться большой политикой. Никуда не денешься. Но в этом плане, вот то, что мы сейчас делаем в образовательном, это действительно вот в контексте вашего. А космос большой, так сказать, это огромная политика со всеми нюансами. Но мы здесь можем именно вот на этой части, на образовательной и научно-исследовательской части остановиться. Спасибо.
Ну, я благодарю, что вы меня правильно поняли, потому что ваши заключительные слова, я имела в виду, конечно, именно это, потому что космос, помимо гражданской функции, все это знают, это не секрет, имеет и большую военную функцию, это всегда часть закрытая, и поэтому существуют ограничения. Это Россия здесь не исключение, я думаю, это существует во всех странах. Очень много вопросов содержится вот в этих двух вопросах, часть из которых я никак не решу, в частности, там о статусе космодрома, это точно не моей компетенции вопрос. Какую ремарку я хотела бы сделать? Я должна была ее сделать в самом начале, не сделала. Вот то, что мой коллега говорил про то, что делается на Байконуре, в принципе, у нас более 90 предприятий в Роскосмосе. То, что я рассказала, к этому прибавляются активности, которые занимается каждое наше предприятие. То есть у каждого из наших предприятий есть профессиональная ориентация, они взаимодействуют с вузами. И сегодня, в принципе, мои коллеги из Самарского университета и мои коллеги с РКЦ «Прогресс» очень сильно мне облегчили задачу. Вот вам пример, как это работает в городе Самаре. Как взаимодействуют предприятия, университет. Евгений Владимирович Шахматов показывал, как они со школьниками работают. Это только те инициативы, которые государственная корпорация взяла на себя в качестве зонтика такого, да, и делает на уровне всей Российской Федерации. А инициатива, естественно, каждое предприятие занимается сами, потому что никто лучше, чем предприятие, не знает, какие им специалисты нужны, как их готовить, как организовывать практику. Поэтому это вот отчасти вопрос о Байконуре, там, Центр эксплуатации объектов наземной космической инфраструктуры занимается этим, да, и занимается Байконуром. Значит, второй ваш был вопрос про международный центр. Я не буду, наверное, на него отвечать, потому что я считаю, что это просто не уровень моей компетенции. Пожалуйста, пришлите еще раз вот то, что у вас была просьба. Мы постараемся рассмотреть и каким-то образом продвинуть это предложение. Но вот в ваших словах содержался, мне кажется, ключевой тезис. Так как действительно космос, мы бы хотели, чтобы он был вне политики, но все-таки военный космос, он, конечно, внутри политики. Давайте попробуем как-то развивать международное сотрудничество, например, через сферу образования. Я думаю, вот через корпоративную академию, через сотрудничество вузов. И я думаю, что все страны, они смогут пользоваться результатами такого сотрудничества, несмотря на ограничения, которые объективно существуют.
Victor Tartuhin, SAP America and Industry Liaison for Stanford University. I will ask a question in Russian. Obviously, I'm Russian. Алла, у меня такой вопрос. Вот вы сказали последнюю фразу по развитию сотрудничества в сфере образования. По личному опыту, возглавляя NASA SpaceX Challenge в Кремниевой долине, я столкнулся с ситуацией, когда это вступает в определенные временные рамки с European Space Agency мероприятиями. Роскосмос занимается своими. То есть по миру существует параллельно достаточно много конкурсов, которые, в принципе, я хотел бы согласиться с коллегами из Китая, мы должны больше сотрудничать и больше делать нетворкинг вместе. И, наверное, может быть, здесь роль Организации Объединенных Наций и взаимодействия космических агентств, а также компаний, которые готовы помогать и участвовать. Как вы считаете, как мы к этому должны идти?
Я думаю, что обязательно надо как-то продвигаться по этому направлению. Но вот могут же наши коллеги из Министерства образования делать международные школьные олимпиады. Вот, например, мы курируем школьную олимпиаду российскую по астрономии. И мы знаем, что в мире номер один сейчас мальчик, который занял, это вот наш представитель Российской Федерации, мы отслеживаем его судьбу. Если это возможно вот на уровне школьников, такое международное взаимодействие, давайте посмотрим в нашей отрасли. Мне кажется, тоже это можно делать. Поэтому я поддерживаю, нужно просто проанализировать, какие есть возможности, какие есть препятствия, какие есть риски, но думаю, что надо продвигаться в этом направлении.
Yes, thank you so much. I am Tabu Stephen from Uganda. Russia has sold some jets to Ugandans. Russia is building a nuclear plant in Uganda. But if you are to sell this idea of selling the planes, the jets, can you also widen your awareness about the education, the international education on rocket launching and these other things I've seen? Because when our country bought these jets, I think no one had an education on it, and I think only the pilots that are taking up these rockets are the only ones who gained, and no one knows about this that is taking place in Russia. Thank you.
If I understand you properly, this is about cooperation in educational, yes? In education. Of course, one remark. Actually, I work in State Corporation Roscosmos. I am not employee of any university. Yes, of course, we cooperate, as I showed to you in the presentation, we cooperated with a number of universities. Sometimes it's very difficult for Roscosmos to cooperate, you know, for international cooperation. And it's much easier, let us say, for the universities to cooperate. And for example, as you in Uganda, yes, for example, in European countries, in the United States, well, companies, they cooperate with universities. If universities cooperate with each other on international level, sometimes it's easier to make this cooperation between the companies. Yes, not this way, but this way, but anyway. Okay, Thank you. Actually, let me give the floor to my colleague René, and this is our fourth presentation during the section.
Okay. My name is René Pischel. I'm the head of the permanent mission of the European Space Agency in the Russian Federation. And I'm going to give you now a presentation about ESA training activities in Earth observation. And before I start the presentation, I must admit it's not my presentation. It's actually the presentation of Mr. Francesco Zati, who is the scientific coordinator of all these training activities. And he knows much better than I do what I will tell you right now. So be cautious with me. If you have any questions, they are better to address to him. So let's start. So, but before I start about the training activities, just to recall about, oops, is okay? Just to recall about our space agency. So we have 22 member states. Not all ESA member states are member states of the European Union and vice versa. So they are different. There's a difference between the two of us. Of course, we have cooperation agreements with those EU member states which are not member states of the European Space Agencies. We have about 2,000 staff and a budget of about 5 billion euro per year. And since 1975, we have launched about 80 satellites, and we have been very successful in this. Okay, this slide shows you all the areas of our activities, and in fact, we are one of the space agencies in the world which include areas of Earth observation, telecommunications, so all aspects of space activities in one space agency. So, and now about the ESA education programs. I will then tell you in the next slides a bit more in detail. So we have an ESA educational office which is coordinating all these activities, and in principle they can be divided in various activities, which of course most of them are directed or targeted at students, but some of them are also targeted at schools, meaning teachers and pupils. So we have a lot of projects especially for students. Then we have projects ongoing to support teachers. And we have international cooperation activities, as we already heard, together with other space agencies and other organizations. I will tell you about details about this in a while. And then, in addition to all that, we have also the opportunities for what we called young graduate trainees, and also for research fellows to work at ESA to get professional experience. And last but not least, we have an ESA Academy, which also deals with students. And as I said in the during our panel discussion, one of the major sort of motors why we are doing all this is of course the changing environment of space. As you all know, as I said, the players in this environment are changing. It is going more diverse. It is not only anymore the space race between governmental space agencies. It is much broader, and also the applications for which space is made are changing rapidly, and we have somehow to react to this. And the reaction we have is called Space 4.0, and it has the 4 pillars. And one of those pillars is inform. And actually this has to do with the training which I will tell you right now. And I had also explained already that, of course, Earth observation is a very good area where these trainings can be done, because all the data is freely available, and also there's a big need to use these data in many countries, and that's why I'm explaining what I will explain right now, using the example of Earth observation. But of course, our training and education activities are not limited to Earth observation. So just to say, who are sort of what is the target audience of these training and education activities? Of course, young professional, also of course already operational users, future scientists, and you can read the list of course here. And not last but not least, it's also decision makers who we want to give knowledge so that they can make the decisions even better than before. And also to show that, of course, we are doing this not on an island. We are using international cooperation to provide our training and our education activities. And as I said already in the morning, we are 22 member states. Cooperation is in our blood. So we are used to that, and that's why, of course, our partners in Europe are, of course, naturally universities, of course, the other space agencies, the national space agencies in Europe, then Earth observation associations like ERSL or the European Geophysical Unit. And then, of course, we have international partners, which you can see here on the list, and to which I will come back in my next slides. And so to complete the picture of so who is involved, of course, I have to tell you who is involved and who is acting on the ESA side. And on one hand, this of course is the ESA Education Office, which is coordinating all these activities, then the ESA Academy, and then there's a very important element which is called European Space Education Resource Offices in the ESA member states. To be honest, I don't know exactly how they are built, but I understand this is something like we can see, say, for technology transfer, like these business units which are rising. And I guess this is something very similar, and these are controlled by the national ministries of education. And of course, as I said before, universities are very important partners for us. I know that, for instance, in national agencies, for instance, in DLR, where I have been working before, there's a rule. Each institute director of a research institute has a professorship in a university in the town where the institute is located. So this gives a natural combination of research in a sort of agency institute and in a university. Of course, that is not the case for ESA, but that's a very good example how this connection, how this link is working. And of course, we are working together with the EGU, as I already said. So, and that slide shows you a bit the sort of the different areas we are covering. On one hand, of course, with different methods. On one hand, for the schools, covering both the teachers and the pupils. And of course for the universities, where we have other means how to provide trainings and education. So of course for the schools, we are using heavily the network of these educational offices, and of course the goal is to teach the teachers, to train the teachers, to have activities in the classroom, and to have European challenges Europe-wide. And of course, for universities, we are using our ESA Academy. So coming back to these offices, I told you before. So we are the number of those offices in the different member states is increasing. So the blue ones, these are the ones which are already existing. The yellow ones are those which are in preparation, and the white ones are those who have raised their interest. And only in the last years, we have trained by using these offices about 50,000 people, teachers, and we reached nearly 1 million pupils in their classrooms with our training methods, which I think is quite a big number. And then I mentioned, of course, the ESA Academy, where we have, of course, more specific courses. As you can see here, I think you guess this is a CDF. And of course, we have courses in space engineering, space applications, also in space law, standardization, and in product assurance and safety. And of course, 2 of those topics have a direct connection to Earth observation. So to say about the education in the frame of European cooperation, so we have been working together since 7 years with the European Geoscience Union, and you probably know that there's an AGU meeting every year in April in Vienna, and we are using this meeting to organize a workshop for secondary school teachers and to provide our information to them. And we want to enlarge this activity to Africa and South America. And then a second sort of cooperation in this frame is the cooperation in the frame of school labs. For instance, the German Space Agency, they have a number of school labs in Germany, and ESA is trying to cooperate together with these school labs, and the same is of course also true for other national space agencies. We provide, of course, training courses at university level in Europe that concerns radar imaging, radar data in the European cooperative state countries once or twice per year. Then we have training courses about radar data and applications, and we have, maybe you know that, summer schools in our facilities in Esrin in Italy for universities and PhD level students. The rules for these schools and courses are that ESA is providing the trainers and is organizing, of course, the course and provides also the data, but the host country, they shall provide all the logistics and the websites and so on. And of course, the participants are selected and they can attend the course for free. But they shall pay, of course, for the accommodation and the travel. And so these are examples for these summer schools. It's every 2 years and open for students worldwide. We do this in cooperation with the European Association of Remote Sensing Laboratories. And there are several of these workshops in addition to the summer schools in Esrin. So, and I know that they are very popular. We are also trying to use innovative methods for training, and here you can see 4 of those sort of workshops or trainings where we try to use this, and they are, as you can see, concentrated or focused on specific topics, as you can see here on these examples. And then now going from Europe to worldwide, so we are cooperating with the Committee for Earth Observation Satellites. They also have a working group on capacity building, and of course we are cooperating with them, with the UNESCO and with COSPAR to really sort of bring together all these activities, and we are of course are cooperating with them. And also we are trying to broaden our activities to Africa and to China. We have special programs for that. One is the one for Africa is called Tiger Initiative, with 150 African institutions and For China, we have a cooperation program which is based on the on our joint Dragon mission. So in order to get a bit grip on all that, we have a centralized web page. So you can access all these training courses on this central web page, which will allow you to select what is closest to your heart. And then, of course, one very important point is that all Earth observation data from the Sentinel missions which have been launched is really freely available for non-commercial use. So everybody can have access to the data on the website I have shown here. Yeah, and of course, actually, we are using this data for our training and education. So these are, so now I have explained to you what are the sort of the target groups, the different approaches. Of course, then we have also developed specific tools for the education, and these comprise posters, atlases, web-based tools, then specific software, then also, of course, tools. So these were the tools for the secondary schools. Then we have tools for general outreach, of course, iBooks, then apps for tablets and iPhones and Android phones, and also tools for university level. These are the so-called massive open online courses. I will come back to that. Videos, tutorials, and so on and so forth. So here are, on this slide, you can see a few examples of school atlases we have developed, and also our website education space, which can be used by secondary schools. And here are a few examples about imaging processing software for schools, which is using radar and optical data with GIS tools. It's an open source software, Java based, so the schools can really work with it. And then the other two photos here, one is an iBook about climate data visualization, and the other two are just examples about applications for mobile phones. Also to see where the satellite is, what data can be achieved, and so on and so forth. So just two words about the very nice massive open online courses. So what does it really mean? So massive means there's no it's an online course, of course, in the internet. There's no limitation to the number of participants. Open means it's free and accessible for anyone with an internet connection. Online means everything is done online, and a course means it is dedicated to a specific topic and is prepared by specialists with theoretical and, of course, practical content. And we already gained some experience with that, some positive experience. So we saw a very high interest in it with more than 10,000 subscriptions. And if you sort of are an accountant and would count the cost, then this is of course a very efficient method of training courses because it reaches many people. And we think that in the future this is a very positive tool because it can really reach many people everywhere in the world. So, and that brings me to the end of my presentation. So here are some of our useful addresses you should know. Of course, you can ask me if you are interested to participate in these training courses and or other education approaches. So in summary, I would like to come back and say, I showed you in my presentation the various methods and approaches we are using for training on different levels. And I hope you could see that we are trying to adapt to the challenges of the current situation and current developments in the space area. And of course, we will continue to do that. Thank you for your attention. So, any questions? No? not be cautious with me. Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. I work at the Brazilian Space Agency, and we're very happy because it shows more or less the way we want to pave now. It's been a long way about universities, and now we're interested in smaller children and adolescents and so on. We are having some new ideas about having some materials done for prisons. We have a very large, we have the number 5, the largest prison population in the world, in Brazil. And as you may imagine, people have a lot of time. So we were wondering if you have some kind of experience with that, because we're also doing material online. We're preparing that. And I also wanted to ask if you have something on people with special education needs, because we have usually space is for very intelligent people, but we have also an understanding that everybody should feel included, and especially when you already feel, oh, it's developing country, it's already creates a bad self-esteem, and sometimes if the person is even diagnosed with some kind of disease or problems in education, maybe it just means that they're not really understood. So we're also thinking about special needs. So I wanted to ask about these 2 classes of people, if you may.
Yes, I'm sorry, these are really very specific questions, and I'm not really ready to answer that. I have to, of course, I will take your questions and will forward them to my colleague, and hopefully he can get back to you. Thank you very much. So, and that, I guess, concludes our session. You can ask me during the coffee break. I think that's all right. I think we can conclude the session. Laurent, yes? So then we have now a half an hour coffee break, right? Is that correct?
Excuse me, I have announcement as we're a little bit out of time. We'll have our coffee break till 4:40. Okay? It will be a little bit shorter, but till 4. The next session will start at 4:40. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
образовательных программ, возможностей, магистратура, космическое право, международное космическое право. Вот, что у вас там что-нибудь такие какие-то программы, если наша страна не является членом? Очень дорогое образование, оно там не бесплатное, да. Я специализирована. У меня, к сожалению, карточки нет, я могу вам написать на ваш электронный адрес, там указано.
Раз, два, три. Раз, два, три.
То, что фонит, вот этот шум, вот он сейчас есть?
Нет, другой. Прям такой.
Раз, два, три.
Нет, сейчас нормально все. Прям такое пищание шло.
Я ничего не делал.
Это тот же микрофон, который там? Может, там микрофон?
Я ничего тут не могу сделать. Там ноутбуки все по-разному фонят. Поскольку когда они выключают, ноутбук перетыкают, там начинают
Раз, два, три. Раз, два, три.
Это еще хуже? Нет. Нет, я говорю, прям писк был такой. Фоновый.
Раз. Слышно меня? Раз, два, три. Слышно? Послушайте, пожалуйста. Нормально?
Senores and senores, we'll start the second part of our session and ask you for your attention, please. Yeah, please take your seat. We proceed with the section 2, Global, Regional and National Initiatives to Enhance Space-Related Human Capacity Building. We will wait just a minute, no? Okay. And the first speaker on my list is Rei Kawashima, Director of UNICEF Global. I give you the floor, madam.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind introduction. Actually, you didn't mention anything, but I think I met most of you this morning. So now I'd like to talk about, let's see. Yeah. You know, it's very complicated, 3 screens, and I need to manage all the things, only one, this one. Okay. So today I will talk about UNICEF Global, and I'd like to discuss something that I mentioned this morning. First of all, I'd like to introduce UNICEF Japan. We started these activities in 2002, and obtained legal status in 2003. And UNICEF stands for University Space Engineering Consortium, and we are aiming at facilitating and promoting university students' practical space activities, such as making a satellite or making a rocket and launch it and operating it. So currently we have 50 university members within Japan. And then in the past 15 years, we launched more than 45 satellites into the orbit. In the beginning, we just making a CANSAT, but after that, CubeSat and nanosatellite. And recently, advanced universities are challenging more advanced satellites. However, I'd like to emphasize the number of satellites is not our achievement. The real achievement is people. People, you know? I mean that the competent, the engineers we have provided to the industries and academia in Japan. And they have a professional knowledge of satellite technology and systems engineering and the project management skills. And also, you know, that is most important thing, guts, spirits, never give up spirits, and tackle the difficult problems, spirits. These spirits can be acquired through the real space projects. So we started these activities in 2010 with Vision 2020-100, which is by the end of 2020, let's create a world that university students can participate in real practical space projects in more than 100 countries. And we believe how to start, how to implement such kind of education can be transferred to existing universities anywhere if there is a good professor, motivated, good professor who has good skills and knowledge. You know, one person can change your university. One person can change your country. So what is UNICEF Global? UNICEF Global is a consortium of local chapter. And the local chapter is a consortium of university. And the university contains of the university professor and students. And yeah, it's a great honor that we are accepted as permanent observer by the United Nations, COPAS. It's, this is just June this year. And our primary objective is to help create a world where university science technology used by individuals and institutions in every single country, rich or poor, for peaceful purpose and for the benefit of humankind. And currently, we have 44 regional the coordinator, and then 15 local chapters were already made. We are providing training and competition and conferences, workshops. One of the good program is CLTP, Cancer Training Program. And we invite the professors from overseas and give them training. And they can teach their students at home. We conducted 8 times, and now 73 participants from 34 countries. Well, theoretically, they can teach. And we developed the new training kit, because CANSAT and CubeSat, there is a huge gap. So in order to reduce the gap, we created the new training tool, and that is called Heptasat, because 7 centimeter cubic. So it's called Heptasat. And this training program will be held in South Africa in December with the United Nations. And we have a missionary contest, and this year we forced the applicants to think about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we have debris mitigation competitions, and it's a global meeting, nanosatellite symposium, and there are many local chapter activities. Of course, the Samara Space Summer Space School. It's very, very good. You know, Samara should be summer, you know. Samara Space School will be introduced by Igor after in my session, in our session. Okay, so I would like to move on to the discussion. You know, the capacity building for the 21st century is the thematic priorities. It's a very important thing. And of course, UNICEF Global can provide various things to complete the mission. However, discussion. I really want to ask your opinion. Please, how should we set the goal into 2030? The key principle of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development is no one will be left behind. So, question is, should we say no country will be left behind in capacity building in the field of space science and technology? So, okay, I think I want to ask you, how many people say yes? Yes? Really? Are you sure? Okay. Oh, how many people say no? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know, honest opinion is always welcome. Oh, okay. Okay, how many people is thinking, not sure? Okay, that is also good. Okay, so George, do you want to say something?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
No one will be left behind. No one left behind is very, very, very wonderful, but it's unrealistic.
Okay, thank you very much. But you know, only 15 years ago, no one believed that university students can build satellite and launch it and operate it. No one. Just 15 years ago, nobody believed that. But now, everybody believes as university students, of course they can do. No, they have their own ground station, and they are taking care of the ground station and operating the satellite. So, you know, the common sense will be changed. So, but what to do? So next. So I'd like to raise the backcasting methodology. Maybe, do you know this one? Are you familiar with this? Backcasting is the reverse forecasting techniques. Well, for example, in 2030, we'll have such a world. Then, in 2017 now, what should we do? This type of way of thinking. So, when you say global, say, university students can participate in practical space projects in all countries in 2030. So then, what should we do now? And the bad news is, as George said, it's not realistic. It doesn't sound quite realistic. But good news is there are so many resources now. Well, we saw what for example, Samara University did, or Roscosmos will do, or in China and India and other countries can provide to other countries too. International collaboration or international the training program to international students. So it may not be very just a dream. Yeah, it could be a dream, but reachable dream, I hope. But of course, it's very difficult for us to achieve this goal. And we need to think, it is a really good goal or not? If you are engineer, how many of you are engineer? Okay, if you are engineer, you know how difficult it is to make a satellite and how tough, how hard your work would be. And are you forcing these people in a small country to do it without resources? We need to think. But, and we need many inputs from different fields, economy and sociology and, of course, law. So we need everybody. But if we think it is a really good goal for us, we need to think, how can we achieve the goal? So I would like to be open today because I cannot decide today. I'm still thinking what to do. Okay, so upcoming events. In December 2 to 4, we'll have a UNICEF global meeting in Italy, Rome. So please come if you can. If you cannot, please come next year. If you cannot next year, please come in the future sometime. And we also organize not us, but the United Nations is going to organize Heptasat workshop in December 9 to 10. So please contact me and please join us if you wish. And I saw several people who are taking a responsibility as a point of contact here. So if you don't mind, please raise your hand. Bok. You too? Okay, right. Okay, so anyway, I would like to listen to your opinion or feedback, and especially about the question, the big question. So I'm staying here for the week, so please grab me and talk to me. Thank you very much.
Domo arigatou Kawashiro-san for your very impressive presentation. And I would like to ask if there are some questions to the presenter. Please, sir. Please give the microphone. But not to left other speakers behind. I please you to be shorter. Thank you.
My name is Shahidul Islam from Bangladesh. I'm a teacher at a university. This UNISEC is a good initiative, I think, and as you know that Bangladesh so far has no space initiatives except one nanosatellite has been launched in last June from the BARTS program. And I think UNISEC can help a lot to teach or to enable us space with the space technology. And as I discussed with you, and you told that there are 2 universities already initiated to start the UNISEC Bangladesh. And my question is how I can get connected with these initiatives for my university.
We have a web page, and there is the point of contact web page. So, and everything is on the website, including their email address. So you can contact directly, but if you are too shy, please contact me. I can connect you to the guys.
So we proceed, and the next speaker on my list is Jingdong Wang, Regional Center for Space and Technology Education in Asia and Pacific, People Republic of China. I give you the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. So I'm thinking it's a very great afternoon. So we come from almost everywhere to getting together in this historical and fantastic city, Samara, Russia. So, and already we had a very good presentation by our speakers to discuss the capacity building in the field of science technology for the 21st century. So what I'm talking about is the arc of regional centers affiliated to United Nations. So for the regional centers, already by speed by the simulated people. So it initiated by the UNWUSA in 1980s. And the first regional center established in India in 1995. So this is the list, this is the objective. So how we would like to establish the regional center. So up now, we already have 6 regional centers. So include the India Center, Jordan Center, and also in Africa, Nigeria and Morocco Center. And in Asia also, China. And in South America, we have Mexico and Brazil. They are jointly centered. So totally 6 regional centers. So this time, I think most of the director of regional center also getting together. So we also will have a parallel meeting to discuss for the future of the regional centers. So here I just give you a proposal for open discussion. So what does the regional center do? So the initiative program of each center focuses on the following 4 core disciplines, include the remote sensing and geography information systems, meteorological satellite applications, and satellite communication and geopositioning systems, space and atmosphere science. So with the increased demand of the space applications, the following core disciplines were added, include the global navigation satellite systems, basic space science and technology, also the macro technology and the space law and policy. So this June, we had a very good meeting. So by all the directors of the regional centers in Vienna, so together with USA. So we propose to establish the Alliance of Regional Centers. So in short, ARC. So just like a rainbow. So I think just easy for understand, for remember. So what about the arc? So I think it's a vision. So we think we should down to the earth while aiming high. And the missions that are promote the development of space technology applications by enhance the exchanges and further maximizing the advantage of the UN regional centers, and to coordinate with the capacity building network, which is proposed by UN USA. So this is connected by also this workshop. And for who can join these regional centers. So the membership of the alliance should be comprised regular, associate, and ex-official members. The regular members of the alliance include the current regional centers. And the United Nations Office for Outspace Affairs should participate, be an actual official member of the alliance. And also here I should emphasize, so the national and international education entities and the space agency, non-government organizations, and the private sector entities that have signed cooperation agreement with the regular member of the alliance should be associate members of the alliance. So it's much open. We should cooperate with all the related entities to share our experience and resources. And how to the governance. So coordination board of the alliance will be consist of the one representative of each regular members and of the USA. The latter is acting in actual capacity. The chair of the coordinated board will be a regular member of the alliance who will be selected by consensus by alliance and serve for the period. We will decide 2 years or 3 years. We will decide later. Thereafter, the post of chair of coordination board will be rotating among its regular members. And each regular member shall provide the name and contact details and its principal and assistant member to the chair of the coordination board. And the meetings of alliance. So alliance should be meet at least once at a location determined at the end of the previous meeting. So I think face-to-face also very important. So we suppose every year we should meet at least once. And also we can use the social medias, emails, and also other medias to communicate frequently. So all regular and associate member and USA should be invited to participate to the meetings of Alliance. So this is a general idea for the arc of regional centers. And also I here just present here for your ideas and suggestions to make this alliance much better. And also, if we established, we suppose the alliance of this regional center will be officially established in the June of next year, together with the Unispace 50 plus 50. And also here we propose some joint action by all the current regionals. So include a joint book series on space technology applications, joint publishment of the annual report of each regional centers, joint publishment of the best practice and the successful stories, and joint exhibitions in the next year. Here, I just show you some, also we have ideas for discussion with the colleagues in Nigeria, in Morocco. So we initiate to design the logo of the ARC. So I think this ARC will make life better, will promote space, peaceful use, and much widely. So I'm thinking, reminded by the UNICEF Global So we are thinking, we will establish the ARC online. So coverage all the boundaries. So also we have such the solution option for the logo. So I think we will have a discuss later. And also another examples I initiate we would like publish a joint report in next year to looking back the history of the regional centers, all the achievements of the contributions in the past. And also we would like look forward the future of the regional center. So I propose the name of the joint report will be Regional Center, the History and the Future. So some items I list here. So as due to time limited, I would like not extend it. We can discuss later. And also I would like to take the time to introduce the my centers. So in China, the regional centers. So what we have done. So this is a timeline for the establishment, operations of the Yuri Regional Center in China. Start from 2013, and this year will be the 3-year anniversary. And this is the inauguration ceremony in 2014, and the first governing board meeting. And this is the second governing board meeting in 2015. And in the second governing board meeting, we decided every 2 years we organize the governing board meeting. So, and also, so this is the members. And last year, we don't have the governing board meeting, but we organize advisory committee meeting. So during this advisory committee meeting, we invited all the speakers for our member states to make a presentation on the space applications. So we called this Forum on Space Technology Applications. And also, this is also, each year we organize the New Year receptions to make a connection with our partnerships in industry and other universities, and also our government, and together with our member state, member experts. So this is the first New Year reception in 2016. And each year we have 5 actions, folks. And this is our activities, programs in 2015, focus on the global navigation satellite system, remote sensing and GIS, and basic science and technology. So this is for the master degree programs, and also we have doctoral programs. So this is the short training programs, also the space application related. So this is a list programs on 2016. So always 3 master programs and 1 doctor programs. And last year we had, totally we had 7 short training programs together to co-organize with our partners. So totally 300 participants to join our short training programs. And this year, the number always increased to 50, totally 50. Totally, so it also includes 3 master programs and 1 doctor programs. And this year we already had the 3 short training programs. So, and also we have one more short training programs in the last, before the end of this year's. And some unique activities. So in 2015, we organized the joint exhibition on China space explorations. So it includes 3 parts: the imagination to the space exploration, the instrument invented by our ancient people to the space exploration, and the current contributions on the space explorations. And this graduation ceremony in 2016, we had the first batch of the PhD students. And also, we built some facilities to promote the programs, include the labs, and also the softwares, courseware, and the teaching materials. And this is the map of our partners. So this is statistics. So totally, we trained more than 200 master degree programs, master degree students. And they are from 16 countries, and totally more than 500 participants to join our short training programs. And also to promote the cooperation with other regional centers in past 3 years. So myself with my team to visit all the other regional centers. We do the cooperation face-to-face with other regional centers. So I think it will be very, very helpful. And this year, we would like to promote the navigation satellite. We established the Beidou and the Belt Road schools. So we would like to do the offline education and together with the online education. And this is our Beidou and the Belt Road schools. And this is our center. And also our websites, and also our WeChats, and our publications. And also these materials you can download through our website. And also we are thinking that down to earth while aiming high. So thanks for your attentions. Thank you.
Mr. Young. And before we start with the next speaker, I would like to ask our participants, someone has lost your iPhone. Please check your pockets. And I ask organizers to put some announcement outside of this room too, because it's, I believe it could belong to
so who lost your cell phone? Just to go to the chairman desk.
I don't know. Maybe. But it was brought here by another person to my table. It would not live in here. So I ask organizers to make a report outside of the conference room. And the next speaker on my list.
Thank you very much. And also very welcome to visitors and to communicate with us.
Yeah,
Thank you very
certainly.
much.
And I apologize because we are a little bit out of our timetable. So if you have any questions, we could ask them after all speakers, because we should proceed, not to left anybody else behind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And the next speaker in my list is Stephen Tabu, Bugema University, Uganda, on progresses and challenges of building capacity for space science and technology in East Africa. I give you the floor, sir.
Thank you so much. I am Tabu Stephen David from Uganda. I teach at Bugema University, Uganda. I'm a PhD student at Makerere University in space science. I got to know about space science in 2010. That's when it came to Uganda. And then I did my master's from there. And so doing the teaching as well as continuing with the education. And this is my outline, introduction, significance of capacity building in East Africa, capacity building centers of excellence in East Africa. We shall see that they're not there, but we shall see how we can resolve that. Then way forward for the implementation of space technology and the capacity building in East Africa. Capacity building in space science and technology is critical for the developing competencies to efficiently respond to the society challenges and addressing sustainable development. To meet the sustainable development goals, SDGs 2030, East Africa needs to build the strength and strengthen her capacity to assimilate and generate knowledge for sustainable development. Why am I saying like this? Is because, yes, this knowledge is in East Africa. Already people are studying, but they don't know really what they are doing. I'm glad I had some speaker talking about launching of a satellite in Kenya, but because of the political instability, as we are hearing, I'm praying that it can go on. Anyway, I was not sure of that, but we will pray for that. So we are talking about for effective assimilation and appropriate application of space technology to succeed in East Africa. Committed efforts must be at the national and regional levels. I'm talking about East Africa. We have 6 countries that make East Africa. That is Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and the South Sudan, newly born country. I think you know. No country in East Africa has thought of launching their own space, although I've heard Kenya is willing. We pray for that. And Earth observation satellites, thereby joining the League of Sensing countries and moving East Africa out of the former class of being totally SST, sub-Saharan African continent. Sorry, I'm just talking about East Africa because it's a sub-region of Africa that is not receiving maybe the ultimate of space science. I've seen here rockets, I've seen here satellites, I've seen what, and so, but some of us, a country like South Sudan, a country like Burundi is just dreaming of, of such things. And so for us to get this SDG 2030, please, we need to work hand in hand as we see the way forward. This is in Africa, and you can see so much in East Africa. We are looking at so much at scintillation, effects of scintillation, and the total electron content using GPS, Callisto, and the VHF, different GNSS systems. And so much we are looking at being equatorial region, and that's where geomagnetic effects are happening, and that's why I brought in this map. A fundamental goal of capacity building is to enhance the abilities of stakeholders to evaluate and address crucial questions related to the understanding of the environmental potential and limits of the needs perceived by the people of the country concerned. In East Africa, I believe you have heard that we are almost getting this petroleum refinery, and that is Uganda and the Tanzania. And of course, we need the knowledge of space still. In that, but the problem we are facing is that these technocrats who come from the developed countries, when they come, they go direct to the governments and they speak their own things, business, but they don't involve the institutions such that they gain the information and teach the people who will continue with this work in the coming years. Maybe to go to the capacity building centers of excellence in East Africa. Some of the institutions of higher learning in East Africa are already contributing towards the building of competencies in space science and technology through their teaching, research, and development activities in core areas such as basic space and atmospheric sciences, remote sensing and geographic information system, satellite meteorology, and global navigation system. We need a lot of knowledge because, as I told you, we are people who are depending on other people's satellites. We are depending, we are just downloading things. I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer, but to get these resources is hard. I need to download, buy on internet, some things like that. So it's challenging, as you see under the education, and even I talked about it. Education on space science in East Africa can be taught from universities like that. I included in Ethiopia because they also belong to the eastern part of Africa, but they are not integrated into East African states. but they are our colleagues and our friends, and we are doing things well. Challenges of capacity building in East Africa. The first one, we have this old-fashioned curricula, I think I've talked about it, that we get these things from internet, and so we need to change. The next one is inadequate enabling technologies. Many of the enabling technologies for modern geoinformatics curricula are in various stages of development in East Africa. I've heard from European, Russia here, at least you have developed this. You can even take this to the high schools. Ours is just in, like in Makerere, where I'm studying from, at least they start from the undergraduate, that's third year, to teach space science. And in the engineering side, they are teaching this in remote sensing. But of course, we need a lot of effort, because I think you're hearing about disasters in mountainous areas, in forests, not only in Uganda, but the whole of East Africa. I think even you heard that people are somehow suffering from hunger, yet Uganda has been a basket of food for East Africa. We've been serving East Africa, we've been planting, but because of the lack of the technology, that's why we are a bit suffering. There is also lack of data infrastructure and inaccessibility in these East African countries, lack of regional coordinators. Actually, here is one I want to be sincere, that in the UN, at least, in your centers, like in Africa, there are two centers. One is in North Africa, the other is in West Africa, and in East Africa, we don't have any. I wish we got also coordinators from also East Africa and join the league and tell sensitized people, tell them about these workshops. Because I remember calling some people from Kenya, calling my friends from Tanzania about this, and they were telling me they didn't know that this was taking place, just because of maybe that coordination. Lack of financial resources, that is of course. Then we have East African countries should stop setting up top-heavy bureaucratic structures whose prime function is political support. When the European Union comes, say European Union comes to Uganda or to Kenya, they will always first run towards the government, and they want the government to get the people for training instead of using institutions of higher learning. I believe Makerere, University of Nairobi, among the best universities in Africa. And if you use these institutions, I think a majority of people will be sensitized and will know what's going on in the field of space. A way forward for the implementation of space technology and capacity building in East Africa. Development of an education curriculum on space science. This one, at least these institutions have tried. But as I told you, this starts from university, that is at higher level of learning, that like third year, like masters, and so if we need people to get to know, I've heard here people saying that their curriculum is starting from a secondary level, that is higher education. I wish also this would come to East Africa or Africa as a whole. I'll be very happy. East African nations need to collaborate with the developed countries that are involved and are part of manufacture of space-based systems, so as to design, implement, and carry out maintenance mechanism to facilitate the sharing access. Why am I talking about this? We have this GPS, as I told you, CINDA, we have the VHF, but when they are malfunctioned, they are not working, no one is able to correct them, and so we continue like that without receiving any data. I'm a bit fast because of time. It's clear that the necessity for East Africa to participate in and coordinate its space activities cannot be overemphasized, and a commitment from developed countries to assist East Africa's endeavors, both financially and in knowledge transfer. I cry to developed countries that some of our governments feel like space is not so important. I'm talking on the side of East Africa, please. If you go to a country like Burundi, if you go to a country like South Sudan, they don't believe space is more important than maybe economy or what. So therefore, developed countries, if you come out and sensitize these people and tell them the importance of space, I think would be somewhere. Because I believe even our top organs in the governments believe in you people. They should also support existing standardization and interoperability efforts for ground station software and hardware standards. We get these systems, GNS systems, but the truth is that getting these softwares, I told you I'm a PhD student and I'm working on simulations and I'm on the side of modeling. But you know, you need to read, you need to get to use maybe the aviation GPS systems around the globe, but still it's very hard for you to access this data. Successes, not only problems but successes. At least I've mentioned about the first one, that the East African countries, especially Kenya and Uganda, institutions started conducting postgraduate courses in space science and related courses like remote sensing, geographic information systems, satellite communications, satellite meteorology, and the global climate. That's so good. Over 100 professionals from East African members countries have successfully completed these postgraduate programs. In conjunction with postgraduate training, workshops have been organized in Kenya, as I was sure, Uganda, Rwanda, which have been attended by over 200 participants and experts. These scientific events addressed topics related to the use of space science and technology, astronomy, astrophysics, and so on. And this is one of the space workshop that we had in Nairobi. That was 2013. We've had various workshops, like in Rwanda. I've not put it here. Even in Uganda itself. I thank all the organizers and the funders for this project, for helping us come here, get to know Samara, get to get the knowledge in space science, and for any reservation, sorry. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Tabo, and for your very impressive presentation. And as I said, and that was saying in your presentation that nobody should be left behind. I could not be agreed with your colleague, because the main word in this sentence, not behind, the main word left. Certainly, then we are going directly to some achievement. Someone is the first person, the second person, but we should not left anybody behind. We should give the helpful hand. That's the meaning of this sentence. And the next speaker in my list, Mr. Igor Balakonov from Samara University, Samara Summer Space School. So, I give you the floor.
Уважаемые председатели, уважаемые коллеги, я хотел бы рассказать о нашем 15-летнем опыте проведения летних космических школ. Эта активность началась в 2003 году. Мы провели первую российско-европейскую летнюю космическую школу под названием «Перспективные космические технологии и эксперименты в космосе», в которой приняли участие большое количество университетов из Италии, из Испании и других европейских стран, и, конечно, из России. На этом слайде вы видите официальный документ Европейского космического агентства. Это труды, которые были выпущены по итогам этой школы. Это единственный, первый и единственный официальный документ, который опубликован Российским университетом в рамках вот, издательской деятельности Европейского космического агентства. Какие цели преследовала первая школа? Первая школа, равно как и вторая школа, были посвящены очень амбициозному проекту, который продвигал Европейский Союз при, конечно, поддержке Европейского космического агентства. Это второй спутник молодых инженеров, ЕС-2 проект. И главная цель была ознакомить участников с этим молодежным проектом, изучить возможности, характеристики российских научных космических аппаратов типа «Фотон-Бион», познакомить коллег с нашими планами проведения космических экспериментов, с теоретическими проблемами тросовых систем и вопросами динамики, аэротермодинамики, ультралегких спускаемых капсул. Проект ЕС-2 был очень интересен тем, что он ставил перед собой целью отработать технологию альтернативной доставки малых полезных нагрузок с низких космических орбит с помощью тросовых систем. И результатом первой космической школы было принятие решения нашим университетом об участии в этом проекте. Была сформирована общая команда, чтобы работать над этим проектом. И было предложено реализовать эксперименты для отработки некоторых критических технологий проекта ЕС-2 во время полета фотона М2, это микрогравитационной космической платформы, в 2005 году. Цель второй школы, которая была проведена в следующем году, это уже командная работа над проектом ЕС-2, реализация экспериментов по моделированию, по отработке базовых инженерных решений проекта, изучение возможности реализации этого эксперимента на космическом аппарате «Фотон М3», и был основан Самарский центр экспертиз, который поддерживал эту деятельность. Вторая школа. Участники вот тут приведены, тоже большое количество университетов Италии. И во время этой школы делегация высокого уровня из Европейского космического агентства посетила школу. Вот тут вот вы видите Вернер Риссельман, который был главой соответствующего отделения, Мартин Цель, глава департамента по использованию по директората человеческих вот этих полетов, пилотируемых полетов и так далее. Вторая школа была любопытна тем, что мы сделали макет вот этой возвращаемой капсулы и проводили дроп-тесты, сбрасывали эту капсулу с самолета. Кстати, этот самолет-амфибия был спроектирован и изготовлен в нашем университете. И тестировали вопросы, связанные с последующим отысканием капсулы после сброса по работам маяка. Маяк передавал данные, и через спутник мы могли видеть координаты точки, куда упала эта капсула. Вот здесь приведены результаты второй этой школы. И очень важно, что начали взаимные поездки, тренинги участников, в том числе и с российской стороны. Несколько участников приняли участие в тренингах в Голландии, в Естеке. Это очень большой инженерный космический центр европейский. И в 2005 году мы провели эксперименты на фотоне М2. Здесь показана вот аппаратура, которая была подготовлена для отработки технологии навигационного сопровождения будущего эксперимента ЕС-2. Здесь вы видите то, что было сделано в рамках уже эксперимента ЕС-2. Это вот сам вот это вот устройство, которое включает в себя вот такой отсек, в котором сосредоточен трос длиной 30 километров. Это возвращаемая капсула. И мы разрабатывали навигационную поддержку этого эксперимента. Достаточно интересная была работа, которая реализовалась, в общем-то, успешно. Далее формат нашей школы был немного изменен, и с 2011 по 2017 год мы сосредоточились на проблемах развития наноспутников и возможности их запуска на ракете «Союз». Участники школы работали на создании, над разработкой технических предложений по различным миссиям наноспутников. Вот, например, мониторинг магнитного поля Земли, верхней атмосферы, ионосферы Земли, проект коммуникации, передачи данных через наноспутник, наблюдение Земли и так далее. За объектом нами был выбран наноспутник формата CubeSat-3, и в конце школы каждая группа защищала свой проект перед комиссией экспертов, которые, в общем-то, делали выводы, ну, давали рекомендации, конечно, и делали выводы о потенциальной возможности продолжения этой работы и переводе его в конкретную фазу. Я хотел бы здесь показать статистику участия разных стран, в том числе из развивающихся стран, вот, в этих школах, начиная с 2001 года. В 2011 году 7 стран, 8 университетов, 26 иностранных участников. 2012 год 10 стран, 13 университетов, 39 иностранных участников. 2013 год 6 стран, 6 университетов, 14 иностранных участников. 2014 год 12 стран, 16 университетов, 32 иностранных участника. Возрастает количество участников из развивающихся стран. В 2015 году 11 стран, 12 университетов, 26 иностранных участников. В 2016 году 23 иностранных участника, 10 стран, 12 участников. Здесь я хотел бы показать несколько проектов, которые развивались в рамках вот этой школы. Ну, например, вот этот проект, который развивался французской группой участников, точнее, европейской группой участников, ядром которой были студенты из университета Исаи-Супайра, Тулуза. Вот был проект наноспутника по наблюдению Земли. Здесь ядром была команда из Мексики и Кореи. Этот проект был посвящен мониторингу ионосферы. Вот такая живая работа очень нравилась студентам. Они, в общем-то, чувствовали какую-то такую реальность дел, которыми они занимались, и вырабатывался опыт командной работы. Мы провели очень успешно в этом году летнюю космическую школу. Было подано 170 заявок от иностранных участников. На первый этап мы ввели первый этап как дистанционный образовательный курс. Приняло участие 76 участников, 14 стран, 23 университета. Большая команда людей была из Мексики, из Бразилии. Из Бразилии было, вот видите, 31 человек. Большое количество было из Мексики. Ко второму этапу, значит, было допущено 40 участников. Это просто наше ограничение по количеству участников школы, которые мы можем себе позволить. Дело в том, что финансовая модель школы предполагает, что наш университет полностью покрывает проживание, питание и обучение. Участники только должны оплатить транспортные расходы. И если они хотят, это плата за экскурсии. 2 дня мы проводим 2 однодневные экскурсии. Это в Жигули, в национальный парк. Очень красивое место, к сожалению, вот вы не можете это увидеть. Я приглашаю приехать летом, тогда вы увидите всю красоту наших «Жигулей». И в технический музей города Тольятти. Вот здесь я хотел бы показать пример значит, проекта, который уже как бы был порожден школой, которая была проведена в 2016 году. Мы сейчас активно обсуждаем с университетом Исаи Супайра Formation Flight, проект группового полета 2 наноспутников. Их спутник будет пассивный, будет выполнять определенную научную миссию, а наш спутник будет активный. Мы сейчас завершаем работу над двигательной установкой для наноспутника и хотели бы провести вот такой тест. Вот этот проект мониторинга ионосферы Земли, сейчас он обсуждается также, как бы толчок этому проекту был тоже сделан на школе, и мы надеемся, что к концу этого года мы заключим ряд соглашений с группой университетов по реализации этого проекта также. В этом году, в следующем году, конечно, у нас будет 14-я летняя космическая школа, она будет проходить с 20 августа по 1 сентября. Девиз школы от идеи миссии к проекту наноспутника. Я хотел бы подчеркнуть, что школа организуется университетом самарским, но также в организации школы принимает активное участие Ракетно-космический центр «Прогресс» и Российская академия космонавтики. И в настоящее время проведение этих школ поддерживается Международной астронавтической федерацией, значит, административным комитетом по космическим университетам. Заключение. Проведение вот таких школ показывает, что большой интерес от участников и хорошие результаты достигаются, если формат космической школы включает в себя самостоятельную работу над общим проектом, который имеет шанс быть реализованным. Участники школы, участие Самарского ракетно-космического центра в школе сильно мотивирует, повышает интерес участников, так как они чувствуют, что их вот идеи и предложения могут иметь реальную возможность реализации на практике. Начиная с 2003 года 12 российских участников защитили диссертации на темы, связанные вот с работой школы. Более 60 российских участников защитили магистерские диссертации. Как результат космических школ в нашем университете сформировались новые для нас научные направления. Это теория и прикладное применение тросовых систем. И мы сейчас имеем хорошую школу в этом направлении, которой руководят 3 профессора с очень большим рейтингом. Динамика, термодинамика ультралегких возвращаемых капсул. Это тоже очень любопытное направление. Отработка комплексирования разного типа навигационных измерений для обеспечения космической навигации. Исследование возможности отработки научно-образовательных программ на ракетах-носителей, точнее на орбитальных ступенях ракет-носителей. Такую возможность нам теоретически может представить ракетно-космический центр, но пока к практике мы не дошли. До практики мы не дошли. Проектирование, управление наноспутниками, развитие малоразмерных различных сенсоров и устройств. И один из важных результатов активности нашей было то, что мы получили грант КРИСТ значит, реформирование образования в области космических технологий в Казахстане, России и Украине, который был ориентирован на формирование единого образовательного пространства. Какие предложения мы хотели бы сделать вот, в рамках этого воркшопа? Я тут уже говорил о том, что значит, финансовая модель, она, в общем-то, предполагает большой вклад нашего университета в финансирование этой школы, и мы предлагаем включить вот нашу школу в перечень образовательных программ, поддерживаемых Комитетом управлением по космосу ООН. Мы, в общем-то, также заинтересованы в развитии кооперации с региональными центрами и хотели бы, чтобы управление по космосу выделило бы какую-то поддержку молодежи из развивающихся стран, хотя бы несколько человек, поддерживать грантами для оплаты перелетов, потому что очень много студентов у нас из Латинской Америки, и им очень трудно найти соответствующие деньги для оплаты вот, авиабилетов. Спасибо за внимание.
Спасибо, Григорий Витальевич. And the last speaker in my list, Mr. Yaroslav Visyanin from Sputnik International Organization of Space Communications, Russian Federation. I give you the floor, sir.
So, as I understand, we are almost out of time, so I try to be brief and precise. Before all, I would like to thank our dear chairs for giving me this opportunity to take the floor and deliver my brief presentation on the Sputnik International Organization of Space Communications and its contribution to human capacity building in space science and technology. The history of Sputnik began in 1971, when 9 states, recognizing the need to contribute to strengthening and development of comprehensive relations by communications as well as by radio and television broadcasting via satellites, decided to set up a special international organization. So on 15 November 1971, representatives of these states signed the agreement on the establishment of the Sputnik International System and Organization of Space Communications. Sputnik was created as an open international organization, so each and every state can become its member. Over less than half a century of Sputnik's existence and operation, its number of its members increased by 17 states. Today, Sputnik has 26 member states that represent almost all geographic regions, from Central America to Southeast Asia and from Europe to Africa. In addition to the establishment agreement, the international legal status of the Sputnik is regulated by the Agreement on Privileges and Immunities, Headquarters Agreement, and the Operating Agreement. At first glance, it seems that Sputnik is a classical example of an ordinary international organization. However, Sputnik has some distinctive features that do not let us consider Sputnik an ordinary international organization. Firstly, back in 1971, the founder states decided that the main stage of Sputnik existence should be commercial operation of its own communication system. Being an independent subject of international law, Sputnik has the possibility of using its own spectrum and orbit resource in accordance with the rules of the International Telecommunication Union on equal terms with sovereign states. Using this resource, Sputnik implements joint projects deploying satellites in its own orbital positions. Such joint projects, as well as cooperation with numerous satellite operators, provide Intersputnik with much sought after satellite capacity that can then be offered to telecommunication companies, broadcasters, and other corporate customers from both member and non-member states. Secondly, amendments to the establishment agreements put into force in 2002 introduced the institution of signatories. The member states acquired the right to appoint a telecommunication administration or other entities as Intersputnik signatories authorized to sign the operating agreement. To date, the member states have appointed 24 signatories, including relevant national ministries, satellite communication companies, and other entities. Signatories take part in the organization's management and participate in the distribution of Intersputnik's revenue and profits resulting from its commercial activities. Therefore, in addition to sovereign states, Intersputnik includes as members, or rather signatories, other entities that in most cases do not have international legal personality. This is certainly not a unique situation, but organizations with such membership are not numerous. These two features, namely the possibility to carry out commercial activities and the institution of signatories, distinguish our organization from many other classical international organizations. But Intersputnik is still an international organization that takes very seriously its international duties before the members and signatories, as well as before the international community as a whole. Keeping in mind this obligation, Intersputnik takes measures aimed at human capacity building in space science and technology. Since our principal space activities deal either with the legal field or telecommunication matters, our efforts in human capacity building are generally connected with these areas. So we can additionally subdivide our efforts into two groups. Our human capacity building measures in the legal field usually deal with space and telecommunications law at both national and international levels. First of all, to make space law popular with the young generation of students and train new specialists in this field, for last years, Intersputnik has been cooperating with several top-ranking Russian universities. Such cooperation allows students to undertake an internship at Intersputnik, gaining useful practical experience, while Intersputnik monitors their performance. At the same time, these internships, as well as other various events organized by the universities, enable the organization to share its professional experience and knowledge with students. For example, every year we participate in the Bleachinko Congress, an outstanding event dedicated to different topical questions of international law and organized by the People's Friendship University of Russia. Also, in less than a month, we are going to take part in the work of the Kutafin Congress, another significant legal conference that will be jointly held by the Lomonosov Moscow State University and the Kutafin Moscow State Law University. Besides, our cooperation with university occasionally aims at preparing manuals on space and international law. For example, last year we participated in the preparation of a new edition of the Space Law Manual and a learning guide on the law of international organizations. The other side of our human capacity building measures in the legal field is the contribution to the development and promotion of space and telecommunications law. First, since 1985, Intersputnik has had permanent observer status at the United Nations Outer Space Committee. Second, for many years, Intersputnik has been a member of the radio communication sector of the International Telecommunication Union. These are the main fora for discussing questions of space and telecommunications law, and our experts use every effort to contribute to their work. Furthermore, the organization take part in the activities of a number of non-governmental organizations. For instance, for many years, our representatives have been attending the annual congresses of the International Astronautical Federation, and in 2015, the organization officially became its member. Additionally, we contribute to work of the International Institute of Space Law, especially during its annual colloquia on the law of outer space. And as members of the Institute, we also assist in the preparation of the international competition on international space law, Manfred Lach's Space Law Moot Court competition. Every year, university teams from all around the world face each other to win the tournament and prove that they are the best young law experts. So taking this opportunity, I would like to invite Samara University and all other interested universities to take part in this competition next year. Aside from legal matters, Sputnik is very experienced in the area of telecommunications, and the organization readily shares its knowledge and experience with both member and non-member states, thereby contributing to the human capacity building in the use of space technologies. For instance, in June 2017, Sputnik arranged in the interest of its member states a seminar on the development of national satellite telecommunications. Within the framework of this event, our experts and participants from more than 20 countries exchanged knowledge and experience with respect to the development of national satellite systems and on the global market as a whole. Sputnik has already decided to continue this practice. Subsequently, in July 2018 in Mongolia, there will be held the next seminar dedicated to new projects and modern telecommunications technologies, including high-throughput satellites, non-geostationary orbit satellite systems, frequency regulation and policy, and many other questions related to the development of national telecommunications system. Moreover, Sputnik often holds training courses for individual member and non-member states to discuss some important and difficult questions in the telecommunications area. Earlier, such courses were held for representatives of Bangladesh, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia. We believe that these events will help our partners from different countries, including developing ones, to obtain experience and knowledge necessary for construction, maintaining, and operation of national satellite communications. And more importantly, such communications can help them can contribute to further growth in these countries and to the improvement of living standards for their population. So to briefly summarize, the human capacity building measures taken by Sputnik include our efforts in the legal field, namely cooperation with universities and participation in the promotion and development of space and telecommunications law, and our steps in the telecommunications area comprising courses and seminars that we organized for members and other partners. We understand that our contribution to cause of the human capacity building is rather modest. However, we use all available efforts, and we hope that together we will be able to make the difference and achieve substantial progress in furthering knowledge and experience of space communications all around the world. Also, with your permission, I would like to take this opportunity and present to you another international project. This project is not related to human capacity building or future of our space activities. On the contrary, it deals with what we have already done in outer space. The For All Mankind project proposes to ensure protection and preservation of certain archaeological sites on the moon that bear witness to moments that changed and advanced our human civilization irrevocably. We believe that sites like the crash site of Luna 2 spacecraft, the first man-made object to hit the moon or to reach the moon, the Apollo lunar sites landing, and some other sites should be recognized. The forthcoming return of humans to the moon can endanger all these places that remain undisturbed for many years. So we believe that these sites should be recognized, considering their outstanding value to humanity, and therefore protected for posterity by the international community as part of our common human heritage. To achieve this, the For All Mankind's team of lawyers and policymakers is developing a new convention that will be based in part upon the successful models of the UNESCO World Heritage and Underwater Cultural Heritage Conventions. We believe that our footprints on the moon, our first footprints on the moon, should have the same recognition as, for example, the fossilized footprints of our long-forgotten predecessors protected by UNESCO. This project has already attracted many experts from different countries. For those who have become interested, I would like to propose the printouts with basic information, and of course, more detailed information can be found on the official website, the address of which is shown on the screen. I believe that this project can become our first step to finally recognize that we are together one species with shared goal of preservation, goodwill, and peace. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you further fruitful work during this workshop.
Thank you, Yaroslav, for your presentation. I think this project will be discussed in another place, and we concluded our agenda for today, and we will meet again tomorrow at 9 in the same room, I think so. I give the microphone to organizers. Yes, in the same room. Yes, so we will meet again in the same room at 9 a.m. So, if you would like to.
Just a short message. So we are having a 1 hour gap, and then you are all welcome at the welcome party, which will be at the hall next to the table of the volunteers, next to the help desk. You will see the party hall. So we'll see you in an hour.